As I said, we were going to hopefully have Chris Horry's little rundown on my coverage of the general election for £36, but Brian's going to stand in. Brian Thornton from Winchester University, formerly worked for BBC South Today.
And Newsnight.
And Newsnight.
Is it possible to bring up the internet?
No. So you just have to whip through this very quickly.
Okay, I'll get through very quick as I can, Steve. Unfortunately, we don't have the internet, so I can't show you an example of the work we've done. But at Winchester, Chris Horry, my colleague, he's been a pioneer of the idea that everything we produce, we should broadcast. Everything the students produce on the journalism course, we should try and broadcast on YouTube or whatever platform we can. Every piece of teaching that we do, we try to put up on the web. So we're entirely transparent. We think that it serves a number of purposes. One of them is marketing. People can see what we do. We can really say, well, that's pretty good. This is a good place to go. But also, the students will learn from each other. And when you put that obligation in front of students that what you're going to produce will be seen by your peers, by your mum, by your girlfriend, by your boyfriend, then suddenly it's a different game, and they realize that they are fighting. This is like an online CV for them. Part of this idea, we used to cover the general election last May. It seems like a long time ago now, but the general election. I'm a sort of a political obsessive, and so is Chris. So we were really, really keen to cover the general election in as good a way as we possibly could. We tried to explain it to the students really weren't that politically motivated, but when we explained it to them, one of the students said, I think I get it, the general election, it's like the Eurovision for smart people. And they came on board and they were very, very, very happy. And what we did was we produced 8 hours of live TV covering the election from 10 p.m. right through the night with students who were entirely volunteers. There was no assessment, there was no benefit for them at all. They just came on board, thought it was fun, and they really enjoyed the experience. So what did we do? 8 hours live broadcasting. How did we do it? We broadcast from the TV studio that we have in Winchester. We pumped all the content via a machine called a TriCaster, which people may or may not have heard of, which was able to drive all this content onto the web, onto Ustream, which is a website which enables you to put your video content up on the web for free. So we were able to do this entirely. I think Steve has a figure of 23.
No, £36.40.
I think that might just cover the coffees for the night.
Yeah.
But essentially, it was a free. It cost us absolutely nothing, partly because the students were volunteers. We thought that this was a fantastic thing to do for students to produce 8 hours of content that was live on the web. How many people watched? About 1,500. That's when it crashed. And with Ustream, I won't go into the details, but Ustream stopped counting. So we think it was much more than that. We think that we had an audience of a number of thousand that night. We covered as many of the counts as we could in the local area. We wanted to cover them, we wanted to sort of copy the BBC essentially. So we wanted to have OBs at all the different counts across the region. How could we do that for nothing? Again, Chris came up with the idea of why not use Skype. So what we did is use Skype, and I'm sure everybody sort of uses Skype, or at least you've sort of heard of Skype. Once you have an internet connection, or if you have Wi-Fi, you can use Skype, and we put this back into the TV studio. And this was, we told the technical guys what we were going to do in Winchester, and they said, can't be done. So then we did it anyway, and then we said, well, we've got the content coming in, we want to put it up onto the web. And they said, well, it can't be done. So the only way we could think of it at the time was to put Skype onto a TV and then film the TV. I'm a journalist, Chris is a journalist, we're not technical people. This is a bit, you know, it was really as good as we could do. And if you could see it, it's actually surprisingly good quality. We've moved on from that. What we can do now is we drive Skype into the gallery so that we can now vision mix it. So it's essentially the same as what the BBC does. The BBC is using Skype quite a bit now. So that's what we do. You'll be surprised to hear that Skype was pretty robust on the night. It did crash a few times, but that was probably because some of the students were still getting to know how to work it. How do we queue it up? We use the text on Skype to queue people up. So we'd say, coming to you in 10, coming to you in 5, and then we spoke to them in the few seconds before they came on, and then we went to them. Yeah, sure. We had, on the night we had 20 OBs. I don't want to get too technical, but when it worked very, very well, is when we had a laptop with Wi-Fi, plugged into the laptop was a camera of some type, PD170, PD150, so that the quality that was coming on the Skype line was pretty good. Sound was always the killer. Sound is always the problem. Anybody who's done anything like this, you know, in the real world, will know sound is the thing that will do you in the end. The pictures were fine, the sound is a difficult part of it. We've tried to sort of push it on and try to improve it. One of the things, as I said, is that we use Skype now and we put it into the gallery so the director can vision mix it. So it's exactly like the BBC. We do a weekly news program. It's 10 minutes long. We put this up on YouTube. And whenever there's a national story or an international story, we use Skype to get reactions. So when we had the Japanese earthquake, we got ex-students who were in Tokyo to talk to us via Skype into our news program live. Sure, nearly there. And we went to Bahrain during the riots, things like this. Skype makes it possible because it's entirely free. If you want to see any of this material, just go to YouTube, type in Winchester Journalism. We have our own YouTube channel.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.